100 million of customers in more than 70 countries around the world have chosen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to GRC Summit 2023. Please have a seat. In any minutes, the seminar will start again. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chinese Drum Sekolah Budi Utama. Sekolah Budi Utama, Chinese Drum. What a truly spectacular performance we've just witnessed. It's moments like this that remind us of the incredible talent that exists in our very community. Let's give another round of applause to Sekolah Budi Utama for the absolutely phenomenal performance. Their dedication and passion for preserving and promoting Indonesian art and culture shine brightly through their outstanding presentation. Let's continue to support and encourage this talented individual as they represent the future of our cultural heritage, that empowering local pride and igniting the fighting spirit within us. to never give up upon ourselves. So, if you did fall down, make sure you get back up and start running again. Thank you once again, Sekolah Budi Utama, for this memorable performance. And besides special performance of today, ladies and gentlemen, we also have door prize at the end of the day. So don't miss our special door prize only for you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue our session. Today, it is the great pleasure that we will introduce our distinguished guests and distinguished hosts for this session. Mr. Jeffrey Siregar, who will guide us through the proceedings in place of Mr. Kunjung Masehat. Mr. Jeffrey Siregar currently serves as the Executive Director of the Indonesian Institute of Audit Committee, IKAI, and the Executive Director of the National Committee on Governance Policy. He is also an independent consultant who has provided significant assistance to various stakeholders, including state-owned enterprises, private companies, and public organizations in implementing governance, risk management, and compliance, or GRC, in Indonesia. He plays an active role in various national and international forums discussing the advancement of governance practices attended by both academics and practitioners. Mr. Jeffrey Siregar comes to us with a wealth of knowledge and expertise in the field, and we are honored to have him as our host today. Now please welcome Mr. Jeffrey Siregar to the stage.
Well, thank you, MC, for the introduction. Well, I think we all guess who is her name, because from the start, she doesn't announce her name. So, please can I call you Barbie? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to me to be here. I believe at least everyone in this room awake. Awake after the full stomach in the lunch and this performance from SMA Budi Utama still, I think, make us awake. And I also awake, plus with kambing guling in the restaurant I have. Again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. From participant on-site and online. It is an honor to me, and it's also a pleasure as a host at the GRC Summit 2023 in this prestigious event. So before I start, allow me to greet some of my mentor and senior in the GRC field, Pak Antonio Saljoyo, Pak Sony, Michael. I hope you remind me from the previous GRC Summit. I'll be your host online. And Pak Waluyo also, colleagues from association. Before I start, so we all do believe in here that competency have pivotal roles in ensuring the achievement of GRC culture. However, the question is how exactly the roles is fulfilled by competencies. Our keynote speaker that I will present you will elaborate on how precisely competency play its part in building effective and supportive GRC culture. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker, Mr. Kunjung Masehat. Mr. Masehat currently serves as the chairperson of Badan Nasional Sertifikasi Profesi, we call it BNSP, since 2018. Previously, he had a career in the Indonesian Minister of Labor. He is also a frequent speaker at many seminars and trainings in Indonesia and also abroad. So, without further introduction, I present to you Mr. Kunjung Masehat. Pak Kunjung, the stage is yours. Before we start, Pak Kunjung, please be aware that you have 10 minutes to presentation, and we can have some question and answer session after that. Please, Mr. Kunjung. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the moderator, for our discussion this afternoon. So, good afternoon, everybody, the participant, distinguished the participant, and also the honorable our speaker from the USA, Mr. Michael, and also all the delegates, all the participants, and online and also in this room. And it is great pleasure for me that this is my second time come to the GRC meeting. Last year we have also here in Yogyakarta. Thank you, Pak Anton and team, and also Pak Woluyo for inviting me in this regard. So I would like to share regarding what we do in our certification system in Indonesia, because now we have already the regulation and something what need for the industry to comply with our system. So since this one talking about the bidding resilient future through GRC and ESG, I would like to put also one word. Why don't we put the certification also for that one? Not only for GRC and ESG, but also certification we put for the end of that sentence. So we start from that one. I think we know already about the regulation what we have in our country. Based on the regulation, the law of number 13, 2030, this is the setup of the BNSP Indonesia in 2004 at that time. And then from that 2004, this is starting for Indonesia to do the certified in the regard of the link-in match between the need of industry and also the preparation for the standard and everything. So we know that in our national midterm that all the ministry and also institution, we are concerned about the human resource development. So this is our concern and that one. That one, since the regulation and also all the ministry is doing the certification, so we need also the standard. Because the standard is 3 items for the development of competency in Indonesia. We start from the standard, but standard is using for the education and training. In BNSP, we use that one for scheme. This is we were doing for the. So here we're talking about the GRC. I think we are concerned about GRC now. The GRC is very important for us. How we are doing that, what we call the kepatuhan in our bahasa. Now, we also add regarding the environment social governance. So this is, I think, during the decision, we have many of the activities were mentioned by the Michael yesterday, what we are going to do with this one. This is for us. And what is the role of the BNSP? BNSP is one of the institutions under the government, but we are independent. Even the setting up of this organization under the ministry, under the law of number 13, 2003, under the Ministry of Manpower. But after we are doing some, we are in BNSP, we are coordination, harmonization, not only for the Ministry of Manpower, but we are doing also for the all the ministry and also institution. So at the time, I think the first we have quite a lot of people in our BNSP. At the time, we had 25 people, 10 from the government and the 15 from the profession and also from industry. But now we have only 7 people at that time. Since 2018, and then until now, we only 7 of the people. And also the secretariat, we have about 60 people. All the budget of the BNSPs come from the government and from the Ministry of Manpower. So now if we compare our role in duty on this, in this regard, this is quite a lot if we compare between the BNSP before 2018. Now I would like to share regarding the National Professional Certification System what we have. We're starting from the blue one. This is the candidate what we are going to certify. To achieve the certification, certified competent, competitiveness and professional, this is in the process what we are doing for this one. Starting from, we develop the institutional, is it the first party, second party or third party? We have also the regulation for that one. And we do the license for that one. And then we are doing harmonization, all the process in this regard, and then to achieve the end of the certified, competent, competitive, and professional. So the process like this one, we have so many of the regulation, what we call guidance, how we are develop the institution in the BNSP. So until now, we have around 2,150 by the July 2023 in our system. But most of that one is LSP or PCA first party. They are in education and also in the industry. But we have also in the second party, and we have now around 423 in the third party. So we have also the resource. I think many of our participants here as the assessor. This is to make the assessment to the assessee, and also we have 139 master assessor. And we have the placement for the assessment around 37,000. So this is what the resource we have in our BNSP, including all the LSP. This is our record every update. But I think this is the resource we use for the activities what we have in our scheme. So until now, the scheme of in BNSP, more than 70,000 scheme what we have now. So I think GRC one of the one, but we don't have until now regarding the environment social governance. I think this is some of challenge for us. We can make also the certification for the environment social governance. So some of the information regarding the GRK, what we have here. So most of the standard what we have in GRK, still we have the what we call the special standard, not become the national standard. That's why some of the because if we have the specific standard, this is only belong to the who register the standard to the Ministry of Manpower. So if another LSP would like to use this standard, they should be report or give the permission from the people from the LSP who register the standard. Depend with the national standard. If national standard, everybody who would like to make the LSP, they can use also that standard. But this one is specific. That's why until now we have 5 certified what we have in our GRK. And also, I think that the LSP third party of GRK is already many doing the certified for the people in industry. Okay, this is some what we call the standard. The standard, we have three standard. One is we call SKKNE, Indonesian National Competency Standard. The second one, we have also what we call the specific standard. And the third one, we have also the international standard adopted by some of the LSP. But the procedure how we are registered by one, for the national standard, it is approved and signed by minister. But for the specific standard and international standard adopt, this is only register. The sign is only by the what we call the echelon 1 in Indonesia, or in the ministry. That's why this is not long time to making the standard. If you register the standard and then you can apply this one and become of the scheme in our certification system in Indonesia. This is what we have in our system. And then the 3 standard is, for the SKKNE is quite long to develop the standard. Sometimes take 1 year, is not, sometimes it's not complete. But some standard, if we are all use the specific and also international standard adopted by some of the LSP, it will be used. We can make it not 1 year, maybe around 3 months or 6 months. Okay, we would like to know about the contribution of this meeting. I think one thing I would like to know about the identification of the mapping for the IQF, Indonesian Qualification Framework. This is very important now because some of the companies, some of the people who work in this area, they need also some certification from the GRK. And then the second one, identify the job occupation, because we did this one. The third one, describe the profile ocean job title. The fourth one, align job title. And the fifth one, periodically adapting the occupation map. This is, we hope that we can contribute about this one in our conference. So this is the problem also, because until now in GRK, we have only the special standard. Why don't I think we can also make this one become national? Because if the standard is become national, it will be used not only for the specific of the LSP, but another LSP also can use that standard. Some of the process how we make the SKK in Indonesia. I think this is just to promote about the system, what we have in Indonesia. So we do also some recognition, not only in Indonesia, but recognized by other countries. Let's say the ASEAN framework, we have also the 9 level of Indonesian qualification framework with the 8 level of ASEAN framework. We do this one to recognize between the ASEAN countries. Some of the activities now we have also with the bilateral country cooperation. So this is, we hope that we can recognize what we have here in Indonesia, and also another country recognize what we, when they have the certificate from other countries and come to Indonesia, we can also recognize between that one. I think this is some of the information regarding what we have in our BNSP. And then thank you very much for the very short presentation from me. And then we will doing the discussion. Thank you very much. We back this one to our moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Kunjung. We have enough time for quick question and answer. And because from the online we don't have question, please, I will ask floor to raise question and Pak Kunjung will answer directly. Anyone? Okay, Pak Anton, please, microphone. Pak Anton, yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity, Pak Jeffrey. Pak Kunjung, I would like to understand more, as you said that basically there is a possibility that a mutual recognition, right, agreement among the ASEAN. So can you share, based on your observation or based on your study perhaps, how advanced we are or how lacking we are in Indonesia compared to the other Asian countries in order to, from the MRA perspective, and in particular in the GRC professional scheme? That's my question, Pak. Thank you.
Please, Pak.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you, Pak Anton. When we thought about the MRA, I think in ASEAN, starting from 2015, we have the MRA among the ASEAN countries. At that time, we have around 8 of the, what we call the profession. We have the profession. But most of the prescription, I think now, they have already the MRA under the ASEAN, but we don't have the GRC until now, Pak, what we do in our MRA. So in our MRA, what we are going to recognize, first is talking about the standard. Between, let's say, between Indonesia and Singapore, between Malaysia or Philippines. If we have the same, but this is national standard, not only specific, Pak Anton. So we need the national standard for this one. That's why I invite all the participants, if we can make the national standard for the GRC, easy for us to making the recognition among the countries. The second one talking about the occupation, what we have. The third one talking about the system of assessment, what we are doing. The third, the pipe one, we're talking about how about the system of education. If we have that one, the same, and then we can compare between, let's say we're starting with one country, between Indonesia, Malaysia, or sometime last year we're doing 43 countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines, but not in GRC, Pak Anton, because until now we don't have the national corporate standard for the GRC. I think it's better if we can do that one, and then we have the national standard for the GRC, easy for the BNSP to doing the recognition among the country. That's Pak Anton.
May I add one, Pak? Thank you, Pak. Actually, I would like to ask that question, but you have already made such statement as a closing. So, since now you haven't seen that there's similar GRC standard in the other ASEAN country, do you think is this a good or bad to us? So, if it is good, meaning that there's a possibility we take a step further, right, to enter the Asian market, and you suggest to increase the standard into national standard first. Is that the only way, Pak? Or there's a possibility of trying to be bilateral first, yeah, from one country to the other, and then go to the MRA? So please your suggestion, Pak.
My suggestion is better we have the national corporate standard first, Pak Anton. Because if we don't have, we cannot compare. Because let's say talking about the Malaysia. Malaysia, they have, I think. Malaysia is, until now, they have more than 2,000 national corporate standard. Indonesia, less than 1,000, Pak, until now. We only around 900 something. Some of them already review. Some of them already review. But I think if we have starting up from the national corporate standard, let's be doing the national corporate standard and easy for us to recognize between even this one or the bilateral. Because sometimes we have the bilateral, we can do it also with the Malaysia or Singapore or another country. My suggestion is better we have the national corporate standard first, Pak Anton.
Thank you, Pak.
Do we have any question? Yes, Bu. Mike, please.
Yeah. Thank you. Selamat siang, Pak Tunjung. I want to continue Pak Anton question, but I also want to have your opinion, Pak. My experience in the last 5 years, trying to have a recognition from the ASEAN, especially for the insurance professional certification. Maybe my question is, can we enter into the gate of the Asian qualification framework? What? So 4 years ago, we signed an agreement among 5 countries in ASEAN and now become 8. Especially some of them don't have the KKNI and SKKNI locally. Yeah? And then we use AQRF, Asian Qualification Framework, and then we referencing to them. Until today, only 4 or 5, maybe if I'm mistaken, you can give me the right explanation. And then the 4 referencing is already, except Singapore, because they don't want it. And then we use the level of the Asian Qualification Framework. So I think GRC is very possible to have that, because GRC, now the certification, Pak Anton, you already have a level of the KKNI, ya, Pak. And then we referencing to the AQRF, they put minimum qualification. So actually we have a big market, especially for the country underdeveloped GRC, and then we can go through Indonesia to have a referencing to AQRF. It is right or not? Because insurance company already finished, and we will launch in the next November in the AIC conference, AIC Summit in Vietnam. Thank you, but maybe I have more information to complete our mission in the insurance, and I'm glad that GRC is already developed well. Thanks for Pak Anton and the team. Maybe we can go to ASEAN, not just country to country, but through AQRF. Is it possible, Pak? Thank you, Pak Tunjung.
Thank you, Bu. Sorry, Mas, directly, yeah?
Yeah, directly. Yes.
Actually, if we compare about what we call Indonesia Qualification Framework with the IQRF, the difference is Indonesian Qualification Framework, they have 9 levels, from level 1 to 9. But if you compare to the IQRF, they have the 8 level. So between 9 to 8, which one will be 2 of our level will be downgrade to the level of the ASEAN qualification framework. So the insurance, I think we have already the SKKNI, Bu, yeah? So this is the easy for us if we have the SKKNI. Because SKKNI is we compare what kind of the unit of the competency, what we have, element of the competency, what we have, and also how the measurement of the competency. We can compare between our country and another country. So GRC approach, I think we have, this is not labeling, I think, Pak Anton. We have only the occupation. If only the occupation. This is not labeling, Bu. But if we have the labeling, and easy also to labeling the IQRF between the Indonesia, ASEAN, and also other countries. So some countries like Thailand, they have the 8. But some countries in Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, at the time they have only pipe level. Very different what we have in our another country. But Laos, Myanmar, Cambodia, they have only pipe level. ASEAN, we have 8 level. Indonesia, we have 9 level. But if you look the Brunei and also Malaysia, the same with the ASEAN, 8 level. Now Thailand also they have the 8 level. But my suggestion, Bu, if we have at least one, and then the next, the MRA now, I think we have the committee from the Ministry of Education doing the recognition for that one to the ASEAN countries. And then we can use this one also for reference of our national cooperation framework in Indonesia and compare to the another country. Okay, Bu?
Can someone give it to you, Bu? You don't have to run.
Thank you, Pak Anton. Yeah, Pak Tunjung. And we have an opportunity approached by the AQRF committee, Pak. You're right, we have a different level. So that's why we agreed among others Asian country, the agreement in what's level for Asian level. And then every country catch up or maybe already similar. So that's we are already done, and then the AQRF committee already recognized that. So every country, why I say that there are many opportunities, Pak Anton, because some of country have no standard right now. So they can go through Indonesia, I think. And then we already referencing with AQRF by agreement. I don't know, Pak Anton, maybe the GRC, we will have agreement with the player among Asian, and then we put a certain level, AQRF, and every country will catch to that level. Yeah, Pak.
Yes, thank you, Bu. I think because the GRC, this is initiation from the professional association, Pak Anton. Is it correct, Pak Anton? So I think if we starting from initiation from the professional association, it's better also if you have another partner in other countries. If you agree with the certain of the level or certain of the qualification, which one we are? Until now, I think the approach that we have in GRC only 5 occupation, Pak Anton. Yeah, this is certified by the GRK. So if you have the same thing with the Malaysia, why don't we starting for that one between the association in association? Because I think after that we can also, you can association make the agreement, let's say Indonesia and Malaysia, and then we doing the same thing for another level of the GRK. This is starting from the association of the profession, Pak. Better that one.
Allow me, Pak. Thank you, Pak, for such suggestion. Yeah, we will do it right away. We are going to open the communication with the similar association in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Philippines, and in Thailand. Yeah, we haven't had any friend yet in Vietnam so far, but then we are trying. Thank you. You open mind for that one. Thanks, Pak.
Thanks, Pak Tunjung. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the time is up, Pak Nathan. Just one. Can we give to Pak Nathan? Pak Nathan.
One more.
Yeah, one more. Special.
Thank you, Pak. My name is Subramaniam Anbanadan. I'm from Association of GRC Indonesia. So in line with what you have said just now, Pak, I would like to ask, since we have here our lembaga, no, LSP GRK, once you want to try to proceed to the ESGRC, should we in line with that, or you have another things that requirements that there should be another lembaga as well? Please, Pak. Thank you.
Pak, I think that until now we have the GRK this is use the specific standard, Pak. Yeah. Because in our regulation, if the specific standard is initiated by one LSP, that standard is belong to that organization. Another LSP cannot get that standard in another LSP. This is the regulation. That's why the standard is who register the standard. This is belong by that organization. This is the system. This only if you adopt international standard to become standard of the LSP, you can also register. But this is belong to the next organization. That's one the difference between the specific and international standard and also the national competency standard. But if you have the national competency standard, everybody can use that one. But sometimes, because we have so many of the unit of the competencies between one organization and another organization, they use different. This is what we have in our scheme, in our GRK or another organization.
Well,
Thank you, Pak. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the last question and answer from Pak Kunjung. The time is up, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me at the end of the session, I will not try to making any conclusions, but allow me to highlight some key points from Pak Kunjung's speech. Keynote. First, I'm really interested in Pak Kunjung's statement. There's still no ESG certification, Pak, ya. So let me invite my colleagues in association. Let's develop ESG certification as an opportunity to make GRC profession more reliable. And I think this is the perfect time, because everybody talking about ESG, but we have not yet ESG certification. Secondly, we all can see there are challenges in enhancing HR development. Yeah. However, there are also opportunities comes that GRC can help improve morale, increase efficiency, and improve decision making. Secondly, BNSP plays an important role in quality assurance and also recognition of certification systems, include GRC certification systems. And also, Pak Kunjung gave all of us, GRC activists, GRC profession, a noble and strategic homework. First, occupational mapping within IQF, and second, review, update, and converge the specific standard into SKKNI, or national standard. Okay, before I give my authority back to MC, I thank to Pak Kunjung for the inspiring and evoking speech. I believe all of us already have some thoughts and plan to follow up our homework together. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Very nice. Mr. Jeffrey and Mr. Kunjung, please remain at the stage. We would like to invite Mr. Ridwan to join us on stage for presentation of token of appreciation to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Kunjung, and to our moderator, Mr. Jeffrey Siregar. Thank you very much for the session. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to express our thanks to Mr. Kunjung for their significant contributions in steering this outstanding discussion. A special acknowledge is reserved for Mr. Jeffrey Siregar for his skillful moderation, which facilitated this enlightening conversation. Okay. And let's take a picture together along with Mr. Kunjung, Mr. Jeffrey, and Mr. Ridwan. On our count from 3, 2, 1. Let's have a big smile. Oh, nice. Thank you very much once again for Mr. Kunjung, Mr. Jeffrey Siregar, and Mr. Ridwan. You may take a seat. And ladies and gentlemen, now we are stepping into the next session, moderated by Professor D.S. Priyarsono. He has honed his expertise in various aspects of regional science and development. Professor D.S. Priyarsono commitment to continuous learning, science, and development, highlighted by his numerous professional certifications covering subjects such as accounting, finance, risk management, and enterprise governance. Vice President of IRSA and is actively involved in various other roles within academic and professional organizations. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor D.S. Priyarsono.
Thank you for the generous introduction. I'm very honored to have the opportunity to lead this session as the moderator. In my understanding, we have so far discussed the conceptual or theoretical aspects of GRC and ESG. And before this session, we discussed also GRC and ESG from the perspective of public policy makers, the government. In this session, we will discuss the practice of GRC and ESG. Therefore, the topic of this session is building resilient program through GRC and ESG. We have three speakers. All of them are from the private sectors. So without further ado, let me invite the speakers to the stage. The first speaker is Alistair Barata, Director of ERM and BCM, Deloitte, a prominent consulting company. The second speaker is Adriwan Basuki Gautama, Senior Expert of Sustainability, PT Pertamina, Indonesia State-Owned Oil Company. And the third one is Renova Fiski, Vice President of Risk Management and ESG, PT Bumi Resource, Energy and Mining Private Company. Please join me to welcome the speakers and give a round of applause to the speakers. Let me now read the speaker's bio, a brief one. Alistair Barata is a director in Deloitte, Indonesia, and leads the Indonesian practice for ERM, BCM, and ESG risk advisory service, with primary industry focus on financial services, public sector transportation, and consumer. Prior to joining Deloitte, Alistair worked in one of the top-tier investment banks in Europe on mergers and acquisitions. With more than 14 years combination of working experience in management, consulting, and investment banking, M&A, Alistair has supported and led various engagements at Deloitte clients in Indonesia and overseas on turns around strategies, governance, board performance management, enterprise risk management, business continuity management, crisis management, and sustainability.
Several key experiences for ERM engagement span across ERM transformation, maturity assessments, strategic risk assessment, and implementations of multiple state-owned enterprises and multinational companies. While for sustainability, Ulster has led numerous projects including ESG roadmap development, climate risk assessment and reporting, and participated in the working team for carbon tax policy study. Ulster, you have 50 minutes for your presentation.
Okay, thank you. First of all, distinguished guest, moderator, speakers, my fellow speakers, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of us here. And I'm grateful to be here in the ecosystem, if I may say that, continuously strive to learn. And wherever you are, joining on-site or online, we hope that all of you are well. Ya, salam sehat dan salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Yeah. So the topic that I would like to elaborate today will be mainly on how ESG and GRC can be aligned, right? And the agenda of my presentation mainly will discuss about the drivers on why these two needs to be aligned. As well as what are the key alignment points, yeah, and also how we can actually kickstart the program. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of understanding on why there should be an alignment between ESG and GRC, we made a research, right, and we identify approximately top 5 drivers. If we see here in the slides, again, we are in the world that is moving rapidly. The risk landscape is also dynamic. If you might have a chance to look at the World Economic Forum report, there is actually a difference between risk that happens post-pandemic, during pandemic and post-pandemic, as well as before the pandemic. So if we trace back all that reports, going back from 2007, probably the report explains that the risk at that time is more to asset price shocks, oil bubbles, etc. But if we look at the report during pandemic and post-pandemic, the risk landscape is shifting to a more environmental, social, geopolitical related, as well as technology, right? So there is a changing landscape whereby we need to consider risk associated with ESG. The second driver came from the regulations, as well as standards. Talking about Indonesia, we know that POJK 51 is now in place since 2017, requiring financial services institutions to set up their sustainable finance action plan, as well as sustainability report, also for the publicly listed entities, right? Also, we can see that shareholder aspirations, atau aspirasi pemegang saham di BUMN has already emphasized the needs of state-owned enterprise to track their risks associated with ESG. Now the upcoming PER 02, and one of the discussions I think most of you might know, if you're in a state-owned enterprise, also considers environmental and social aspect to be part of your risk appetite. Now the recently released IFRS S1 and S2, those are the policies that also consider risk associated with your ESG as well as your climate risk, S1 and S2, in which we are still waiting for that one to be localized to the Indonesian context. Access to capital, right? Access to capital, based on the survey made by Baker Tilly, 60%, 60% of the survey respondents, which are deal makers, they said that the deal will be broken, if one of the target companies fail to meet the ESG standards. Also, we see the growing trends that passive raters, yeah, for example, like MSCI, Sustainalytics, yeah, are starting to rate companies also based on their ESG. Yeah. Supply chain demand, yeah, here we see a simple example that procurement as well as suppliers are now required to comply to internal policy of the ESG for particular companies. Yeah. So the key takeaway, if we see from the 5 drivers here, all of those 5 are actually risk-based. Yeah. So it contains risks that actually drives us or open our eyes to think about risks and associate that with our ESG activities. Okay. So I think echoing from Michael this morning, yeah, from his presentation, right? Again, GRC is an integrated collection of capabilities that enables organizations to achieve principled performance, right? So the term principled performance here is highly associated with getting your objectives, yeah, getting your, or addressing your uncertainties, yeah, as well as to act with integrity. Therefore, it's actually inevitable, yeah, for companies to run a good corporate governance without thinking about risk management. Yeah. So corporate governance from Deloitte point of view, yeah, consists of 2 simple things, the high Gs and the low Gs. Right? When we say the high Gs are those elements that are main focus of board and directors, or board usually put more weights on that. Yeah. But the low Gs here, we explain about those areas that the BOD-1 put a lot of attention to. Yeah. So in this case, yeah, Deloitte sees this, or Deloitte's point of view sees that the center of a good corporate governance should actually be risk. Yeah, so we should put a focus on risk to understand this. Yeah. And therefore, the key takeaways for this slide is actually, whenever we go to clients, right, and when clients ask us, hey, Pa, where do we actually start? Yeah. Where should we start in combining or aligning our ESG practices with risk management? I think there is no right or wrong answer, but the pattern continues to follow that they normally start by integrating that with their risk management capability. Yeah. So with that, what should be integrated, right? What should be integrated so that this can be aligned? First, I have to say that we have to try to make things a little bit more simpler. So this means that there are 2 components that we need to understand. The first one is we need to know what is or what are our material issues from an ESG standpoint. And the second element is what is actually our risk management capability framework, right? And this is where the parts where it gets interesting. Yeah. So when we talk about the risk management framework here at the middle, yeah, basically Deloitte tries to segregate this into 3 critical components. Yeah. The first one at the top, the one with the color green, we call that the risk governance. So this is the part where board of directors, commissioners need to take active role. Yeah. The second one is the infrastructure. Yeah. This is where we talk about the risk management operating model, yeah, policies and procedures, technologies, and also alignments with the other 3 lines model. Yeah. The last part is the most important part, yeah, which is the risk ownership. So this is the part where the process owners, yeah, truly identifies, assess, mitigate, and monitor risk. Yeah. So if we see here, yeah, there are integration points that needs to be done in each of the layers. Right? So the first one, this one is associated with how the board of directors, yeah, understand the external and internal environment. Right? This means that they scan who are the key stakeholders, right? And what are their key issues, yeah, or what are their material issues. Yeah. So from this, right, another integration point is the risk strategy. So risk strategy is actually a combination of understanding between what are your key risks, yeah, your top risks, yeah, and what are the risk appetite associated with that, yeah, what are your key risk indicators associated with your risk appetite. So as for example, if we think that climate risk is an important risk, they should also sit not just in your sustainability report, but it should also sit under your corporate risk profile. From this, we can also translate climate risk into a risk appetite for climate risk and assign key risk indicators for better management decisions. So that's pretty much the concept of the one at the top. The second one is the one in the middle. We talk about integrations, for example, on the operating models. So managing climate risk is actually not simple because it requires integration and collaboration with multiple parties. For example, physical risk, we need to talk with our GA, General Administrative Function. We need to talk with our safety people, K3. Managing transition risk and climate associated risks is also not simple because we need to team up with our GA, with our tax and legal, with our finance, with our tech, and with the people or staff that understands environmental. Another integration or alignment should be with your thematic policy. So thematic policy here associated with, for example, policy related to running your key strategic projects. Policy in relation to credit approvals for financial services. Policy related to supply code of conduct. And ultimately, if this ESG risk manifested into real crisis or incidents, then that's where an integration between ESG and BCM or crisis management should also kick in. So again, it's a lot of integration that needs to be done with this new modern way of looking at risk management. Okay, so some challenges, obviously. Challenges normally relates to, first of all, the governance aspect. The governance aspect talks about getting the tone from the top. That ESG is important because it relates to your reputation as well as your stakeholders, And also how to get this issue, How to tap into your stakeholders, your key stakeholders, to actually retrieve, understand the issues, and prioritize the issues so that you can get the material issues correct. And also, it requires a lot of coordination, like the previous one that I mentioned, not just within risk management, but also with other functions as well. Operational aspect, we talk about in newly emerging regulations, So how are we going to cope with that, Financial aspect, this is getting our business case correct, to explain how our CAPEX, for ESG-related activities can be justified by a sustainable return as well. Technology aspect, acquiring new technology is not cheap, And this is where organizations must put attention, as well as by the end of that life of that technology, how the waste is going to be managed as well. This is an example on how we supported our clients on climate risk. So this is a conglomerate company running multiple business units, from automotive, mining, manufacturing, financial services, etc. So climate risk actually helps them to know their physical as well as their transition risk. So physical means that they know in which operational locations that is prone to climate disasters such as flooding, heat wave, etc. This helps them to do a better planning on the existing assets they have in place, or for a better planning on new CapEx or investment that they would like to invest in the future. Okay, so this comes to my last slide. I have 1 minute left. So what are the practical 10 steps of aligning your ESG and GRC? So the first one here is really to understand your current situation, So symptoms, like I previously mentioned at the beginning, You have your sustainability report, you have your top risk profile report, You need to check whether those that are considered material issues is also state it down under risk profile. So if not, then we need to ask the what and how questions for that. Yeah. The second one is we talk about set on alignment goals. Yeah. So what are the alignment, the objective behind the alignment that we need to consider, right? Whether it's for compliance, yeah, whether it's for getting a better due diligence, yeah, or also across the governance strategy and also metrics. Next one is related to the prioritization of issues. Yeah, we need to list down and prioritize the key issues so that we need to know what matters. Yeah. The next one is also related to integration, ESG, to risk management. Yeah. The simple first step in doing this is not going through your policy, yeah, but to check actually whether within your risk taxonomy, yeah, you can tag anything that is related to ESG type of issue. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go through straight step 7 and 8, right? Step 7 and 8 basically getting the governance, yeah, strategy, risk management, metric and target correct. Yeah. And also to improve, enhance your training and awareness, yeah, as well doing continuous improvements on this matter. Right. So I think just to end.
Yes,
is,
thank you, Alistair. In fact, the most important or the most interesting points to me is the last slide. So I hope we have enough time for you to elaborate this slide later on.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you, Pak.
Okay, join me to give a round of applause to Alistair. Our second speaker is Adriwan Basuki Gautama. He is senior expert in sustainability of PT Pertamina Persero. Adriwan Basuki Gautama Setiabudi is a distinguished professional with a robust academic background, having earned a master's degree in business administration from ITB and a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Universitas Trisakti. His illustrious career trajectory includes pivotal roles such as his current tenure as a member of the Investment Committee and Risk Management at PT Patrajasa since 2019. Notably, he serves as senior expert in sustainability at Pertamina, Directorate of Strategy, Portfolio and Business Development commencing in 2023. Adriwan's prowess is also evident in his role as senior expert in analytics and optimization at the Command Center of Pertamina Integrated Enterprise Data and Command Center in 2022, and as senior manager of quality management system at Pertamina Hulu Energy in 2021. His strategic acumen is further exemplified by his tenure as Manager of Strategic Planning and Performance Corporate at Pertamina from 2018 to 2020, and as Corporate Strategic Planning, Evaluation and Portfolio Manager at Pertamina Drilling Services Indonesia from 2015 to 2017. His versatile background spans from drilling services as a driller in the South Sumatra region to strategic planning roles, underscoring his multifaceted expertise. Adriwan, you have 15 minutes for your presentation.
Okay, thank you, moderator. The honorable guests of GRC Summit 2023 and fellow speaker. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Okay. For the first slide, I would like to highlight what Pertamina Persero is doing in its business. So since 2021, actually, Pertamina restructured the company and forming a holding and subholding. Right now we have 6 subholding. The first one is the upstream subholding, which is operated under PHE or Pertamina Hulu Energy. And then the gas subholding, operated by PGN. Right now it's Pertamina Gas Negara. And then the subholding of Power and New Renewable Energy, or PNRE, operated by PT Pertamina Power Indonesia. And then the fourth is the Commercial and Trading subholding, which is run by PT Patraniaga. And the fifth is the Refining and Petrochemical subholding, managed by PT Kilang Pertamina International, or KPI. And the last one is the Integrated Marine Logistic subholding, managed by Pertamina International Shipping. And also we have, Pertamina is also have another business for the subsidiaries, such as Patra Jasa for the hotel, and then Pelita Air for the airline commercial. Okay, those are the business that's run by Pertamina. As you can see that we are still dominant in the fossil fuel. So this is the trilemma of Pertamina actually. So Pertamina is a state-owned company, as you know. Certainly have the mandate to maintain national energy securities at affordable price, of course, and which in the end is expected to support the government priority programs. So on the other hand, the world is moving towards to address the climate change, where Indonesia is one of the countries that committed to limiting the global temperature rise by 1.5 degrees Celsius. So in the end, it will help to avoid the climate, worsening the climate, and also maintain the livable climate. So Pertamina is also committed to support the government by preparing the net zero emission. For the next slide, we have the net zero emission roadmap that refers to the National Determined Contribution, or NDC, which later on updated to enhance National Determined Contribution, which in 2030 we will have to reduce our emission to 32% in overall. So that's the challenges in Pertamina and also other energy company. So this is the net zero emission roadmap in overall for designed by Pertamina. So the aspiration is for the scope 1 and 2 net zero emission in 2060. We have two building blocks, two pillars actually, for the strategic initiative to have the aspiration in 2060 to be net zero emission. First of all is the carbonization of the business, the existing business. It started from the energy efficiency, green power generation, and so on. And the second pillar is the new business building. Right now we're still on the study, for example, for the CCS and the CCUS, carbon capture storage, and also carbon capture utilization and storage. So those are maybe the next business for Pertamina to inject the CO2 into the earth. And to support that two pillars, we have also the enablers. First is the monitoring, reporting, and carbon verification, or MRV. Also to increase the capabilities of our employee in Pertamina. We collaborate with Pertamina University to develop what we call Pertamina Sustainability Academy, and also the stakeholder engagement. To carry out the program planning coordination in the PDCA cycle, the sustainability and also in the ESG context, Pertamina in 2022 formed a function called sustainability function, under SPPU or the strategy, which also report to the Sustainable Committee in Pertamina, which is directly led by our CEO, Bu Nika Widiawati. So in terms to ensure and to support the NZA roadmap that has been developed and also support the UNGC SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, Pertamina set a sustainability focus on the materiality topic selected by our analysis, which are then defined to annual program called the ESG initiative. In 2022, Pertamina have 16 ESG initiative, and in 2023, this year, we have 19 plus initiative to incorporate the opportunity improvement from the rating result done by the third party rater. So as we can see here that in 2022, Pertamina gained score of 22.1 for the ESG rating, and also score B in CDP in context of climate change response score. And from the programs that we did in 2022 and also in this 2023 this year, we managed to reduce our emission up to 500 kiloton CO2 equivalent in 2022, and up to the first quarter this year, we managed to reduce our emission to 430 something kiloton CO2 equivalent. So basically in our ESG rating in Pertamina, because as we know that Pertamina is in the fossil fuel business, the the environment is critical in the rating. So one of them is the carbon, how we manage our risk in carbon, in emission. That's what dominant in the rating done by our rater. Okay, so basically this is the key takeaway from my presentation. We have challenges forward also in the Pertamina and maybe in other energy company. First is the technology readiness, because for instance, the solar cell and then also tidal or wave source of energy is still very expensive, if I may say. And also for now, the cost of those technologies are still more expensive than fossil fuel. So that's the dilemma. Also, the economic feasibility and financing, because the renewable energy prices are not yet competitive, if I have to admit, compared to the non-renewable energy prices in Indonesia. Then the economic scale has not yet been developed domestically. And also in the equipment context, low carbon energy still require new skill sets and specialization. So there's a gap competencies in there. And in the future, maybe it will also decrease the demand of the jobs in fossil and fuel industries. So we need to, Pertamina has already tried a few strategies, initiatives for the competencies gap for, let's say, we develop Pertamina Sustainability Academy to enhance our people competencies, capabilities. We collaborate with other university, also in internal university, Pertamina University, in order to increase our competencies and capabilities. And also we do some partnership, as I mentioned before, for the development of carbon capture storage, or the CCS. We partner with another countries and another companies, because it's still new, the technology is still new. But right now is still in the study phase. And also the financing access. We enhance global financing mechanism to support the carbonization projects, which we already have in 2022. And then also the regulation, for instance, for the carbon pricing, carbon trading, we still do some studies on that. Basically what we do right now is a voluntary carbon trading mechanism. Hopefully when the time comes, the regulation is already mature, we are ready to do the carbon trading mechanism. So that's my presentation, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please join me in giving a round of applause to Adriwan. Thank you very much. Our third speaker is Renova Fiski. Reno has more than 19 years of working experience in risk management and ESG, with current role as VP Risk Management and ESG, where he is responsible for success of enterprise risk management system and ESG strategies. This includes ensuring comprehensive ESG disclosures, leading the decarbonization strategic initiative, and engaging with the ESG rating firms and stakeholders. Before holding the current position, he worked as Assistant Manager Corporate Finance at PT Indosat from 2001 to 2010. In 2013 through 2016, he then worked at BHP Billiton Indonesia, responsible for risk management and governance. In 2016 to 2019, he worked at Indonesia Infrastructure Guarantee Fund as Vice President in charge of risk management and compliance. He holds a Bachelor of Engineering, Industrial Engineering from Telkom University, Indonesia, and later earned a Master of Financial Management, University of Indonesia. Reno, you have 15 minutes.
Thank you, Professor Piarsono, for the time. I have prepared several slides that can be used as a springboard for our discussion later on about our experience in Bumi Resources to use our already established GRC infrastructure to meet our ESG program objectives. I think it can be useful, hopefully, for the audience in the context of Indonesia. Of course, it's in the context of Bumi, maybe it can be useful for the Indonesian public listed company or energy company or maybe fossil fuel company. Okay, I think we start from yesterday. Michael said that ESG should start from the objective. I think that's we totally agree with that. First of all, we have to ask why we need to implement ESG, and I think we need to know why we need to develop our GRC thinking into ESG implementations. Then I think it comes up with many years of discussion with our stakeholders, with our investors, with our lenders. They keep talking about this transition, energy transition, and how Bumi will adapt to the world moving into low carbon economies, which in itself is a paramount risk for us. It is not just a risk; it's an existential risk. I think, if you might say so. So it is a paramount, and at the same time, the conversation about ESG is taking a center stage. It's front and center in every time, in every discussion that we came across, when we meet our investor, when we meet our lenders or our rating firms, they keep talking about ESG. So it is no coincidence, of course, because one of the main drivers why ESG is becoming the mainstream is because the concern of the climate change. I think so. We understand that, but we also understand that we need to grab the whole things, and also to know whether it is what value we should protect and what we should create from this. I think we can realize that ESG is a very wide subject. It's a very wide coverage. So to start with, once again, like Pa Michael said, we start with the governance. We established the ESG committee. So ESG is directly under our CEO, assisted by the ESG committee. Was also most of the members are from the board of directors. So getting grasp with the wide range of ESG topics, we use the reference from sustainability accounting standard boards, which they provide a kind of reference for each company in each industry, which ESG they need to focus that will drive value most. So we use this as our reference, and we are also very mindful that this is just a reference. We have Indonesian context, that we have Bumi context, we have our own operational context. But as a reference, it's very, very helpful for us to use this. And you can see that environmental, as a mining company, of course, we got scrutinized. We are very focused in the ESG of almost all aspects of environmental, and also in social, of course, about safety and human rights and labor practice, and also governance. It's about the business ethics and business model resilience. So it's come with the resilience of our company. And as I said earlier, after we conduct many discussions, we realized that this transition risk is very paramount for us. So we go starting with a very deep analysis on our climate change related risk. I think earlier, Alistair already mentioned about TCFD. We adopt partially about TCFD, and this is in the presentation we got snapshot from the TCFD recommendations, which is basically we explain the TCFD basically wants companies to assess and disclose all their information related to climate change, whether it is physical and transitional risk. And also like Pa Antonius said yesterday, that we cannot just focus on the downside risk, we should also see the upside risk. And then also TCFD talk about that also, about the opportunities. So there is, if the world is moving to the low carbon economies, there will be opportunities, and there will be once in a generation opportunities. Like the biggest winner for climate change, probably like in the copper or lithium or nickel. Indonesia is the main, like we say, the main player in nickel, something like that. So there is once in a generation opportunity for every business to grasp into this when the world is moving into the low carbon economy. And then I think the key part from the TCFD is you just not disclose it. You have to make disclosure in such way that it will be investment ready. It will be useful to make investment decision. That's why they need to quantify as much as possible into your balance sheet, into your cash flow statement, and into your P&L. This is where it gets a little bit difficult, because it will be forward-looking, it will be pro forma, and it will be scrutinized by many reader of your disclosures. And then after that, after we conduct the whole TCFD assessment, based on TCFD risk assessment, we realized that decarbonization is the key piece of our ESG program. It should be. We cannot, as a fossil fuel industry, as a fossil fuel company, as a carbon company, we cannot talk about ESG if we don't talk about decarbonization. The reason is because the narrative is already out there. People keep talking about it. Bumi must respond. And of course, the regulation is here, and it will be keep on coming. Of course, the carbon tax is already here, even though it's only for the coal power plant, but it will come. We understand, we expect that more carbon regulations will come. And then also the public perception also firmly swing toward these climate change issues. And then once again, should we already acknowledge this risk? And should we already find the mitigation? Now we need to ensure that it will be executed in a way that will be consistent. Because when we talk about decarbonization, we not talk about 1 year, 2 years, we talk about some kind like 20 years, 30 years. If ladies and gentlemen here are already familiar with the CDP, they will ask about carbon budget. They will say that short-term carbon budget is 5 years. 5 years is short-term for when you talk about decarbonization. 10 maybe short-term. 20 years could be only medium-term. So long-term is until you meet the net zero pathway target. So I think that's how difficult it is. So to ensure that, I think in 20 years, there will be many boards changing and regulations changing. So you need something that's firm, and the governance will take a part of it. That's why the GRC thinking is really, really critical in our decarbonization strategy. And of course, like I said, it also poses a good opportunity for us. And to coming grasp with this decarbonization strategy, which is very complex, very sophisticated, we need to divide it into something that is more manageable. So we divide it into 3 pillars that we call that energy innovation, carbon emission reduction, and climate resilience. Energy innovation, basically we innovate our operational in a way that it will reduce our operational mining fleet, like electrification of our mining fleet, reduce the use of the consumption of fuel, reduce the use of electricity, something like that. And then also, after that, we also engage in a carbon emission reduction. It is a kind of carbon sequestration. So the residual from our operations, should it be using carbon offset, or should we enter into carbon trading agreement? And then the most important of all, as I said, that we are more exposed to the transition risk than the physical risk, is about our business, our survival. We need to develop climate resilience portfolio in our assets, because currently we are heavily dependent in fossil fuel. So this is the most difficult part, and we have to find a way to diversify our revenue away from the fossil fuel. And all of those 3 pillars, of course, to be granular, to have a granularity in corporate targets. How many reduction that you want to achieve, whether you want to get carbon trading, or whether what business that you want to take, what timetable it is. And then also, because it is so difficult, it should be managed in projects, and none of them is cheap. Everything is expensive. If you want to innovation in energy, that's expensive. If you want to go to carbon offset, that's expensive. And the most expensive of all is you have to move away from your own business. So I think this is the way that we talk about it now. And we believe that the core enablers, there we also identify the governance side. The core enablers is, of course, capital allocation. And we have to we think about tying the executive remuneration to the ESG target or to the decarbonization target, because like I said, that this is a long-term talking. It's not about 1 year, 2 years. You need to be sure that everyone will be tied to this target. And then also climate risk and reporting risk. And I said that decarbonization is a journey. I think yesterday also Michael said that sometimes people very, very focused on the environmental side. The E part of the ESG, they often shy away from the social part of the ESG. Decarbonization is a long journey. So if I may borrow the statement from the most famous economist of our time, John Maynard Keynes, they say that in the long term we are all dead. So we need to really, really consider about the people right here, right now, not only the future. So if we move away from the high carbon to low carbon, how can we reskill our workers? How can we provide our curriculum to re-educate our students in the universities, it's a long way. It's a long undertakings. It should take governments and also the corporations. So we realize that human aspects, social aspects should be the focus. So we proactively conducted the human rights due diligence. It is conducted by third party. Basically, we assessed our human rights practice, labor practice, safety practice, community practice, suppliers also based on the reference of UNGP, United Nations General Principles on Human Rights, for business on human rights. This already launched. I think ladies and gentlemen can download it in our website. And also, how can we know our position right now? We are from the party I said earlier, we use this SGRC to gain insight of impartial and the independent view. We see that the third party ESG rating is very important. We use some of them like S&P Global Ratings or maybe Sustainalytics and also MSCI, but I think for the purpose of this presentation, I can only provide you with two, Refinitiv and Bloomberg. Refinitiv is formerly known as Thomson Reuters. After they are being acquired by a London Stock Exchange group, they changed their name into Refinitiv and they provide this. I think from this, I think this is the latest score. I got it like 20 August. This is, the score is keep changing, of course. Bumi is actually, we are number one from the worldwide for coal companies that is being assessed by Refinitiv, and we score 86. The score is 86, means that this range indicates excellent relative ESG performance and high degree of transparency in reporting material ESG data public. So we use this as to really gauge where we are now and where we are going to be with this. And after that, there is an item there that we can use as a reference. And of course, the next one, this is my last slide, and other than Refinitiv, we also use Bloomberg. Of course, this is also publicly available. We show improvement. We need to show improvement. This is my KPI, actually. The board looking at me on this. Hey, what is the ESG score in Bloomberg and Refinitiv? So obviously, I look at it very fondly. So in terms of the last year, using our sustainability report and annual report 22, we increased quite significant, like 16%. And then the biggest jump is, of course, on the social part. This is where we use the human rights due diligence disclosure. I think that's the way we see it. We really crunch the numbers of what ESG aspect in Bloomberg that they really assessed, and then we follow that. And then we pick the one thing that within our capabilities in 1 year and within our budget and within our resource, try to improve our ESG scores. And this is the result. And of course, this is a long journey. And I think that's it. That's it for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reno. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You have given empirical examples of how to implement concepts of ESG and how to integrate ESG with GRC. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the Q&A session. We still have some 15 minutes for this Q&A session. I have one question in this tablet. It comes from Bagus Teguh Pamungkas on site. Can you raise your hand? Bagus Teguh Pamungkas. Pak Bagus? Okay, thank you very much. Let me read the questions. Numerous organizations, notably those in the financial sector with an array of regulations, have addressed governance, risk and compliance, GRC, and ESG to some extent. Yet, the varying sizes, objectives, and intricacies of these entities often there isn't a consistent or common understanding approach to GRC and ESG integration. For instance, there is a belief that genuine GRC and ESG integration is marked by the presence of specific software. Furthermore, some GRC consultants or experts advocate for dedicated GRC and ESG integration policies to be developed even if governance, risk, compliance, environmental and social mechanisms are already established. What's your perspective on this? I'll start with Alistair.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. So I think to start with this, I would have to say that financial institutions are exposed to ESG risks from the standpoint of their products, yeah, from the standpoint of their loan portfolios, for example, as well as their internal operations, right? So normally what it takes in financial services is for loans, yeah, they need to be able to, first of all, understand the composition, right, of their loan segment, right? So there are financial services that is heavily focused, for example, on infrastructure, yeah, heavily focused on ENR, et cetera, right? So implementing ESG in this financial services is actually very unique, right? Because we need actually to balance implementing this on the largest loan segments without actually hurting the whole financial institution, yeah, without actually hurting the whole bank, for example, right? So, for example, banks that are heavily exposed to agricultural sector, right? Whether if they have to implement ESG, right, integrate this into their loan processing, yeah, loan approval, right? Even though agribusiness is a sensitive sector, they will not extremely change the way or drastically change all the requirements that has to be set for this sector, right? Normally, they will start gradually, right, by informing the customers related in that sector, providing trainings, right, and also providing ways for them to cope with the new standards, right? So they will normally do this gradually until the customer within that high complex loan segments actually understands and able to follow the trends. Yeah. So I think that's my point of view, Prof.
Thank you very much. Adriwan?
Yes, let me put it this way. The fundamental is every business that we run have its own risks. So with or without the implementation of ESG, we do our risk management. But in the ESG, they categorize the risks into three categories, right? The environment, the social, and also the governance risk. And for the Pertamina, let's say, from all the way back, maybe in the old days, we already done our risk management. Just for now, when the ESG movement is go hype, quote unquote, we try to follow the framework of the ESG, and also that you have to remember that every business have their own character, their own risks. For the Pertamina in oil and gas, maybe the environment is the dominant risk. Maybe for the financial industry, they do have they maybe have dominant in the governance risk. So again, with or without the ESG, the risk management is one most important thing in doing our business. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriwan. Reno?
Okay, I would like to pick up from what Alistair said that about I think about the varying GRC understanding. Pak Michael already said yesterday and also earlier today that it is also the case, but I'm not going to talk about that again. But I think for the ESG, I can really agree with that there is a varying understanding. There is a diverging standard. So that's why the launch of IFRS S1 as S2 is very helpful for all of us. So there is a standard of what ESG aspect to measure and how to measure it. Let's say if you are an accountant, you already have IFRS standards. So if there is two companies within one industry, you can say that if this company has 100 expense, it comes from the same method to see and to measure like expense recognitions or revenue recognition. That is not the case right now for the ESG, of course. So that's why the launch of IFRS S1, S2 is really good, because now hopefully we can really compare apple to apple about the performance of ESG from each company. Because right now, if you use like Sustainalytics, they have different methodology. CDP, they have different methodology. MSCI, they have different methodologies. Looking at different things, seeing different things, and then it's very hard, it's very costly for you to compare two companies in terms of ESG performance. And so we need to that, and I think the IFRS S1, S2 is really the answer for that. And whether it comes to a day when ESG data or ESG information will be factored, the risk of ESG will be factored into corporate valuations. That remains to become. Let's say if there is a news about ESG performance from one company, then the share will ups and downs. I think the day is not here yet, but I think when the ESG implementation is more uniform, is more adopted by many, and also investors and also companies have the same adoption of ESG. So we can see that maybe someday we can see that we can see that ESG really factored into corporate valuation, even into the stock price. I think that's the thing that we see right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Reno. The second question comes from Sophie Suryasnia. Would you please raise your hand? Sophie? Okay, thank you very much. This question is addressed to Alstairs. What is your suggestions to us to make sure for financial institution like banking, insurance, on the implementation of ESG investment? Can you understand the question? Okay, please answer.
Okay, thank you for your question. So the uniqueness actually about financial services, for example, like bankings, is that their loan portfolio are exposed to risks across different industries, right? For example, if a certain financial services, engage, or do credits or loans with, 10 or 11 specific sectors, then the risk or the ESG risk will vary by sector, right? So for example, mining has a different ESG standards or regulations that needs to be adhered. On the other hand, if you go to infrastructure, that's a different thing as well, right? So I think, again, getting a good understanding on the key material issues within each sector is kind of critical, right? But of course, I mean, if you have loans from multiple sectors, it's hard to get everything at one hand, but probably prioritizing, doing the 80-20 is important here, right? Now, GRC here can actually help, to organize, right? So that within each of that sector, you would be able to track, your compliance risk against that particular ESG regulation on that particular sector, right? So that when the time comes for you to channel your loans, right, to a particular channel, you will have the data ready, right? You will have the guidelines ready, and you can weigh all that into consideration on providing or not providing, agreeing or not, approving or not approving your loans or investments, right? So that's pretty much from my standpoint, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Alstairs. The third question comes also from Sophie Suryasnia, addressed to Reno. Okay. Let me interpret the question to make it more easier to understand. Suppose we are investor and we want to utilize the ESG score published by, for example, Bloomberg. So how to utilize that information to make sure that the investment is feasible? This is my interpretation to this question.
Okay, thank you. I think as an investor, I think you are being, like I said, currently there is high transaction cost when you want to compare ESG performance because the standard is simply not there. Yeah, Bloomberg has different standard than the Refinitiv and also CDP, MSCI, Sustainalytics, they all have different standards. So what you can use, how can you use these rating firms as when you want to invest in an ESG grade company, right? So you can, basically you have to use it as a scanner of the landscape. So you can say that if this certain company hit like only 20 points, then let's not touch these companies. But let's say if you have the companies like in the certain range of point, then you can say that maybe we can see its company. So first of all, you have to decide what companies, in what countries, in what industry, and then you scan it using the ESG rating firm's numbers. Now you can use it. But the decision to buy or not to buy that particular asset should remain on your own ESG appetite. You should have developed your own ESG risk assessment framework based on your nature, based on your business, based on your company appetite. And then after that, you can see, you can deep down whether you want to buy this, if you want to buy this for how long you will keep it, and if you want how this asset strategy of so you can use the ESG score as the mean to scan the environment, to scan the landscape of what will be possible for you to invest. Otherwise, there are like 1,000 companies. If you want to do ESG grade, mutual fund probably, then you have to assess each and every one. That will be very costly. You can use the ESG scoring number is very in that way, and that's why it is critical for us, for the companies. We understand that. We understand that. That's why we want to showcase our ESG performance, because we know that we are being selected that way. We are being, you call beauty contest, in terms of beauty contest. We will not, the judge will not look at us if we don't have good ESG performance. That's why both way. That's why even though there is a divergence in terms of ESG standard, we still use it, we still learn about it, and we still care about it. And hopefully one day there will be one single standard. That's like I said, IFRS is a big hope for all of us to reduce this transaction cost. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Reno. Instead of highlighting the key points of this discussion, I would like to request the speakers to give your final remarks, 1 minute concluding remarks. Let's start with Alsters.
Okay, thank you, Prof. So risk associated with ESG has intensified in this rapidly changing environment. Right? So that's why ESG and GRC alignment is important, is key here to enhance your stakeholder confidence that the company is committed to achieve principled performance and build responsible as well as a sustainable business, while also ensuring that risks associated with ESG can be prevented, and disruptions, incidents or crises associated to ESG can also be managed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Adriwan, 1 minute concluding remarks.
So, in general, the risk management is the most critical thing, and also in the ESG rating, according to the nature of the business, there are some also inherent risks that will still arise, but the main objective is still the same, still the risk management. So how to keep the gap between the existing risks exposure and also the risk management in the ESG categories being narrowed. So again, with or without the ESG, the risk management is the critical thing in our business. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriwan. Reno?
I think ESG has ushered us into the new era of corporate valuations. In a classical way, in our college, in our university, we learn how to value companies using the ROI, sales, revenue, but now on top of that, of course, that still matters. Money still, of course, the cash flow is king. But on top of that, increasingly investors assess company based on non-financial data, which is ESG. And even though ESG is driven by mostly of the investors, it's slowly changing the behavior of the corporations because we want to showcase our ESG performance. I think that's it. And of course, GRC, we use GRC thinking to meet our ESG program objectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Reno. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to close this session by congratulating the organizer for conducting a very productive conference, not only discussing the theoretical or conceptual aspects of ESG and GRC, but also the practicalities, the implementation of the concepts. Again, thank you very much. Congratulations to the organization, to the organizer. Back to you, Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Please remain at the stage for the speakers and the moderators. Thank you very much. Thank you too for online and offline participants for your questions and attention. Since this is last session, we have important announcement that you can fill out the feedback form from now as a condition for issuing a certificate. So once again, kindly fill out the feedback form from now as a condition for issuing a certificate. And now we cordially invite Mrs. Arianti Sulianto to join us on stage for the presentation of token of appreciation. To our esteemed speakers, we have Mr. Olster, Mr. Adriwan, and Mr. Renova. Yes, please, Mrs. And we would like to say thank you too to Professor D.S. Priyarsono for your professional caliber. To Mrs. Arianti Sulianto, kindly give the token of appreciation to our esteemed speakers for today. To Mr. Olster, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give big a round of applause for our last session today. And ladies and gentlemen, we would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to Mr. Olster, Mr. Adriwan, and Mr. Renova for their invaluable contribution in steering this outstanding discussion. A special commendation is extended to Professor D.S. Priyarsono for his moderation, which play a pivotal role in enabling this enlightening conversation. Let's take a picture. Count on me. From 3, 2, 1. Big smile. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we would like to give you the information. Kindly fill out the feedback form from now, because this is the condition to issue a certificate before going home. Thank you very much once again. And we still have one agenda, very, very special for you. There will be door prize. So get ready for it. Meanwhile, please kindly fill the feedback form from now as the condition for issuing the certificate of the GRC Summit 2023. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed participants from online and offline, in this ballroom, Royal Ambarukmo, in this our lovely GRC Summit 2023. Before we wrap up, it is my pleasure to announce a special door prize. Among you, there will be lucky person will be awarded an exceptional opportunity. Attendance to our seminars, masterclass and international benchmarking, integrated ESG through GRC in Dubai. Before we reveal the recipient of this exciting prize, we would like to extend my sincere gratitude to each of you. Your contribution and commitment to our shared goal are truly invaluable. In this door prize, there will be 2 winners who will receive access to a masterclass in Dubai. These prizes are supported by ERMA, and 1 person will receive an amazing artwork by Mr. Teguh Joko Dwiono, who stands out with his artwork, crafting from eggshells and plastic waste, which strongly supports sustainability efforts. Now, without further ado, let us discover who will be the recipient of this extraordinary door prize. But before spinning, we will invite Mr. Rinaldi Hartanto as Program Director of ERMA Singapore to join me spinning the wheels. Yes, please, Mr. Rinaldi Hartanto, please join me. Can we hear some voice? Are you ready? GRC Summit 2023? Are you ready? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Let's count 3, 2, 1, and then we will spin the wheel, and let's see the name comes out from this wheel. We'll get the door prize. Okay. Let's count together from 3, 2, 1. Spin the wheel, please.
Okay, and the wheel stops automatically. The recipient of the door prize, access exclusive seminars in Dubai is spin, spin, and spin. Here we go. So many names. So many names.
So many names.
Can we see? So, the winner is goes to Dubai. Okay, congratulations. Aditya Hendra Tawan.
Congratulations.
Please come to the stage. Mr. Aditya Hendra Tawan. Oh, so lucky. Goes to Dubai. Here we go. Mr. Aditya Hendra Tawan. Congratulations. Mr. Aditya, please remain at the stage because we will spin the next door prize. Yes, please, Mr.
Okay, this is the second chance. Let's spin the wheel with 3, 2, 1. Spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel. And here we go. Entitling them to access exclusive seminars in Dubai. The second recipient of the door prize goes to spin, spin, and spin. Spin will stop automatically. Pray. And there you go. Congratulations for Mr. Dono Haryanto. Mr. Dono Haryanto, please come to the stage. Oh, so lucky. Here we go. We already have 2 winners. Goes to Dubai. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Mr. Rinaldi, for the gift, for the door prize. So that we can go to the exclusive seminars in Dubai, Mr. Rinaldi will give symbolically the door prize. Congratulations to Mr. Dono and Mr. Aditya. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give big round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Rinaldi Hartanto, as the Program Director of ERMA Singapore, and will give symbolically the door prize to Mr. Dono. Congratulations, congratulations. Dubai, here we come. Okay, now can we take a picture together? Please remain at the stage. Yes, along with Mr. Rinaldi. So let's create history. The winner goes to Dubai. Congratulations, Mr. Aditya, Mr. Dono, and thank you to Mr. Rinaldi for the door prize. Exclusive seminars in Dubai. Thank you. You may take a seat. No worries, ladies and gentlemen, because we will have grand door prize. We still have one last spin. But before that, we will invite Mr. Ridwan Hendra as a member of Steering Committee GRC Summit to join us spinning the wheel. Please give a round of applause for Mr. Ridwan Hendra. Mr. Ridwan, kindly lead us to spin the wheel.
Okay, let's start to spin the wheel.
Yes.
Go.
Go.
It doesn't go.
Okay, the spin will stop automatically. Spin, spin, and spin. We're going to amazing artwork by Mr. Teguh Joko Dwiono. The grand door prize goes to, yes, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Marlius Alrobin. For the door prize, amazing artwork by Mr. Teguh Joko Dwiono, who stands out with his artwork, crafting them from eggshells and plastic waste, which strongly supports sustainability efforts. And door prize will be presented by Mr. Ridwan Hendra as member of Steering Committee GRC Summit. Can we see what is the object of the artwork? It's koi fish, right? And it's made from plastic. Amazing, amazing. Congratulations. Let's take a picture first. Amazing artwork by Mr. Teguh Joko Dwiono. Crafting from plastic waste strongly supports sustainability efforts. Koi fish is a symbol of love and friendship. Congratulations, sir, once again. And thank you to Mr. Teguh Joko Dwiono for the artwork, and thank you to the Mr. Ridwan Hendra for giving the prize, door prize. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we give a big round of applause for all of us today in GRC Summit 2023? Throughout the day, we've had the privilege of hearing from esteemed speakers who have generously shared their experts and vision. The discussion has been illuminating, and we're sure that we all gain valuable insights that will resonate in our mind long after this event. Today, we've not only learned about the latest trends and innovation in our respective fields, but we've also been minded of the importance of collaboration, adaptability, and the pursuit of excellence. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our distinguished speakers, hosts, moderators, and participants for your active engagement and valuable contributions. It is your presence and dedication that have made this event a resounding success. So thank you to all for being a part of this enriching day. But we still have something special for you, ladies and gentlemen. So you may take a seat for a while, please, ladies and gentlemen, because we have our last gift to you. We call it like oleh-oleh. So here we go, our oleh-oleh for all of you. This is our memorable GRC Summit 2023.
are the blueprints of innovation. They provide us with the foundation, the inspirations to forge ahead. But dreams alone are never enough. It's the power of action that brings dreams to life, that propels us beyond the realms of imagination and into the realm of impact. We've all been sharing the same dream, a resilient future, for ourselves, for generations to come, and for the world we share. Are you gonna sit there and wait for things to happen? Or will you take action and make things happen?
We would like to say thanks to all speakers from GRC Summit 2023. Thank you to Michael Rasmussen, Mr. Charles, Mr. Nur Saifuddin, Mr. Malsensius. Thank you so much, Mr. Alter, Mr. Renova, and all the speakers, the steering committee and all sponsors, GRC Association Indonesia, Association of Indonesia Governance Professional, Indonesia Risk Management Professional Association, Institute of Compliance Professional Indonesia, and thank you to IPAKA, and thank you to PT Tugure Asuransi Indonesia. Thank you for PT Asuransi Alliance Indonesia, PT Hutama Karya Persero, Pengembangan Akuntansi dan Keuangan PPH dan K, PT Avris Assurance, PT Jakarta Industrial Estate Pulau Gadung, PT Pertalife Insurance, BPJS Ketenagakerjaan, PT Great Eastern Life Indonesia, PT Prudential Life Assurance Indonesia, PT Telekom Indonesia Persero Tbk, PT PNM Permodalan Nasional Madani, and thank you to PT Zurich Asuransi Indonesia Tbk, Kementerian Agraria dan Tata Ruang, Badan Pertanahan Nasional, also Perum Jasa Tirta II. We look forward to meeting again in the future for more inspiring discussion and collaboration. Safe travel, enjoy Yogyakarta until we meet again next year. Bye-bye, see you again.